Welcome back to another episode of Crickellectuals podcast, everybody. I'm so excited to finally have our co-host Rufan back. What's up, Rufan? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Reality check. I wish I had a chance to record some sound bites in real time, but
Yeah, we heard some sound bites just now. What were those about?
that was Virat Kohli's wicket, man. I turned the camera on at the right moment, and I was lucky enough to capture that and give you a real time crowd reaction to that. So,
That's amazing, man. So tell us about it. So you were there in Dubai for the Pakistan-India game, and paint a picture for us. What was it like? What happened? How was it?
oh man, it's very, very hard to describe the actual moment when you were there. But as you know, I arrived 2 days before the Pakistan-India match, and Dubai, extraordinary place to be. It's another episode to discuss the details. I feel lucky to get my hands on India-Pakistan ticket, and that's another episode, by the way, to go over the process we had to go through. But yeah, so fast forward to the day of the match. We had other plans, obviously. Match was scheduled for 6 p.m. local time. And we were around and we thought we just grab a taxi or cab and get there on time. So we thought. So we left around 4:30 and got stuck in traffic very badly where the traffic wasn't moving. There was so much crowd pouring in. It's incredible how high profile this event is. Like you really get to see why these players are so pressured. You feel it in your nerves just approaching the stadium. So long story short, we get there, we miss the first two overs completely.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yes, very anxiety ridden process, not as glorious as I thought because I've been to matches before, and usually when Desi crowd is involved, they bring their culture with them. So you see these stalls, chai, food, traditional clothing,
Hmm.
Pakistani jersey being sold, and Pakistani artifacts, Indian artifacts. And Dubai is a very clean city. They don't allow any of that. And I don't know if you noticed, you didn't see any dolls and instruments in
Hmm.
the crowd either because they make sure you go in clean. You're not carrying any extra equipment, baggage, or anything like that. Yeah, so we get there, and the surrounding of the stadium was not bright as I thought it would be. It was getting dark. You're in the danger of a stampede. That's how much crowd there was. So yeah, so it didn't start off very well, and they do a great job blocking the inside from outside. But as soon as you approach your gate, it's like going through a portal to another universe. It's bright, vibrant, and total different experience, man. Flags being flown, crowd is extremely loud. It's totally
Hmm.
electrifying. You feel wattage of bass going through your body and nerves. It's totally incredible, extraordinary experience to enter. And our crowd is a bit different. Them not being allowed to bring instruments doesn't change anything. they
They'll
they
sing
still
anyway.
they sing, they do bhangra. It's a totally different experience. It was so loud at unhealthy yet vital level that I had to talk to a security guy to get to my seat, and he was telling me where to go in my ear, and I couldn't understand him. That
Wow.
loud.
You
And
totally don't get that feeling when you're watching the game. I watch the game obviously on TV here with my kids, and we're just, watching on some network, and you don't feel that at all. We definitely felt that it was very loud in there, but you
yeah,
also didn't feel that it was, I guess the stadium is really big. It didn't look like it
it
was
is.
so packed in the beginning anyway.
Looking around at my stand, I saw a lot of green, obviously, a lot of Pakistanis around me, but it's an Indian hosted event. There were 75% Indians. You really had to adjust your eyes to see some green in between.
Wow.
Eh, but the noise was equally loud. And as you saw the match, there were consistent wickets being taken and boundaries. So it was a shift in chance. So you couldn't really tell. So even though Pakistani crowd was overwhelmed, chants were equally as loud throughout the whole game. And I can't say the same about the second innings, but that was the case the first inning. And it
Yeah.
was pretty, yeah, it was great, man, and it was very friendly. That was very delightful to see that they exchanged a lot of jokes and stuff, but both parties were laughing. and they were getting along very well despite what you see on TV. There were obviously difference of personality. Some people were pretty sad, and but majority of the crowd, man, the quality of jokes was amazing. I enjoyed that, and there's all types of clowns there, man, singing, and they were Indians were singing "Mauka Mauka" song,
Of
which
course.
stopped in the second inning, and just to tell you the quality of jokes, there was one point I think Rizwan and Babar, when they had a 120-run partnership, the crowd started leaving, the Indian crowd, and they were smiling. They were sort of embarrassed, but at the same
Yeah.
time, they were congratulating you, which was good. They were shaking your hand, some of them, and there was this one guy in the stand, and he was like, "Sir, abhi se aap chal diye, khana to kha ke jaye na." And it was like jokes like that, and they were laughing, man. And the whole match, and you know what happened, man. 10-wicket win. It was. I feel lucky to be part of that. First time India Pakistan match, and we win in nearly 30 years. And after we left, you couldn't go anywhere. You couldn't get a taxi. If you drove there, you're stuck there for 2 hours. So
Wow.
we walked around, and it was very pleasant to speak to a lot of Indian supporters, and they congratulated you. It was great, man. And one Indian even said to me, he said, it's kind of like a stress relief for us too, because they had to maintain that winning streak. And he's like, now that it's broken, it's not stressful for us either,
That's
because
like
now
a
we know
low
we don't.
key show off thing too.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But it was fun, and some people were more aggressive, but only handful of it. And to end my experience, we actually walked about 2 miles to just find a restaurant, because we were walking around all day and we were not exhausted, and because of the result of the match, we felt like totally energetic. But we
Hmm.
we were, we needed some food to replenish, so we found this restaurant, Pakistani restaurant, and to tell you how peaceful the whole event was, the restaurant was full of green shirts. And
Yeah.
there was this one table with four Indian supporters with their blue shirt, and they were congratulating everybody entering. Very brave people to be in a
Yeah,
Pakistani
very
restaurant.
brave to come in.
And I took a picture from my table, and what was so symbolic is that there was a mural of Minar-e-Pakistan
Uh-huh.
behind the Indian table. And I'm like, that tells you, despite all the political disagreement, at the end of the day, it's just a game.
That's exciting to hear, man. Thank you. You're just painting the picture in my head of what it was like. Just brings a different dimension of the game to my mind. It's so different to be there in that environment. It's so intense, but it sounds like it was intense in a very positive way. And
Definitely.
the ending with Virat Kohli giving a hug to Rizwan and shaking hands with Babar, that seems to have become the symbol of the game. I think people are
Yep.
remembering the game by that picture.
Yeah, and that's what you miss in real crowd. Obviously, it's a lot of fun being there, but you miss the dramatic effects that TV and media adds on.
Yeah,
Like that
yeah.
moment there was fraction of a second. That's where you come in, man. You can probably give us a brief experience how you watched it on TV and in real time, and how did you feel, and what you think of the team and their performance.
Man, for me, it was just an emotional kind of a roller coaster ride in a way because one, I had not seen a cricket game with my kids. And my kids, as you know, but the audience might not, are born and raised here in the United States and they haven't really seen
Yep.
cricket, played cricket. They don't know much about it, to be honest. So it was just a special moment with my kids to us wearing green shirts and just sitting together and looking forward to something, watching
Awesome.
something together. That was a beautiful thing for me. That was probably the highlight. Obviously the game was so exciting from the first over, man. We're like, what is happening? We just,
Yeah,
when the first wicket fell, I think it was the second ball or something, and we just all screamed. It was just like every time something would happen, we would just jump and scream, and like my kids
that's
would be so
great.
excited. It was just really, really cool. And yeah, it was just nice to see. Obviously, the luxury of watching at home on TV is that you get to see very clearly, and you get to see things over and over again, the replays and all of that. So it was really nice to see how Shaheen bowled that first over, man. I mean, it was just to see those that kind of bowling up close, zoomed in, slow motion. It was so nice to see that in swinging Yorker, the little delivery that he bowled
Bold
right
Rahul with
after.
that's to date, I think is the best delivery
I
bowled
mean,
so far.
everything just
Yeah.
was perfect that day. And Pakistan just doesn't have games like that. Even the games that we win are not ever really like a perfectly executed plan. And that game was so perfectly executed from the first ball to the last. And in fact, I would argue that is the best win that Pakistan has had so far in this tournament, because you and I were talking earlier, and I was sharing with you that I'm concerned about Pakistan's run rate, the way they go about their chase. But in that chase, they within, it was 152 they had to get, and they got it within 18 overs. And that's the fastest that they've chased a score so far. Afghanistan being, I believe, the second one. Um, Actually, New Zealand one was in the 19th over, and Afghanistan was also right at the end of last ball of the 19th over. So I
Yeah.
really like the pace they kept in the Pakistan India game. So for me, that was a highlight. Also, the batting of babarazam and Rizwan, the longest partnership, but also really the run rate. They were a lot more
Everything.
active. You know,
Totally clinical performance, man. The decisions were made. They managed the run rate so good. They knew exactly what they were chasing. And apart from the obvious, man, the demeanor of Babar Azam and his captaincy, and when he brought the right bowlers in, it was incredible. And you're absolutely right. I've never seen anything like that before, especially when Pakistan is involved. And we've chased some big totals, and this was done in like the most perfect way I've ever seen. And I think it's safely to say, not just for us, a generation before us have not witnessed anything like that before.
no, they haven't. It's never been seen before. This kind of a performance. I mean, this kind of performance is also unique worldwide. If you talk about all teams, obviously, this is not something that happens often, where you don't lose a single player and you chase down an entire total. It's a very rare thing. So it was very nice to see that. And the other part is like at the end of the game, they're showing all of the different players up close and what their reaction is. And you saw Shaheen Afridi taking a selfie with the whole team. And
Yeah.
then later you saw that same selfie being posted everywhere. So it was kind of cool to see that on TV and then again on social media circulating around. And lastly, for me, man, I know this is a beautiful moment for Pakistan, and we've talked quite a bit about it. But for me, I am just such a big fan. I have become such a big fan of Virat Kohli, man. That guy is so professional, so full of class, and he's so excited and also very active. But the way he treats people from the opposition and the way he treats all of his players, like right now, they have a situation going on with Muhammad Shami getting abuse
Bashed. Yeah. Yeah.
for his performance during the Pakistan game, and because he's a Muslim, there's a certain group of people in India that is attacking that aspect of his identity. And just to see Virat Kohli come out and show his disgust about that and speak so openly, transparently, and like showing 100% support to Muhammad Shami is just, he's such a brave captain.
He's absolutely Virat Kohli, man. He's always been like that. I've been a fan a very long time. I know he gets a little aggressive on the field, but that's part of his athleticism, right? He has to bring pressure in, but outside the field, he's a totally different guy. And as soon as the game ends, you see it up front. And every time he was asked, it's not easy to compliment Pakistan. And I don't know if you heard the story about the student being expelled because she is supported Pakistan in India.
Oh,
It's very difficult to support Pakistan or congratulate Pakistan in India these days. And he is a high profile celebrity there. And you can just imagine what kind of hatred he gets every time he smiles with a Pakistani player. Every time he was asked, "Oh, who was the most difficult bowler he's ever faced?" He says Muhammad Amir every single time. He
yeah.
doesn't have to say that. He's faced all types of great bowlers in his lifetime, and one time he was asked if you could go back in time, what bowler would you like to face? He could have picked any bowler, and he said Wasim Akram. And every
Hmm.
time he says something like that, he gets hated on social media. But he maintains his personality and his demeanor towards other team. He's a total professional athlete, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's one of those gems, man. He's kind of like the Muhammad Ali, Imran Khan type of level to me when it comes to things outside of just plain cricket. He seems to be a guy who is kind of like bigger than the game in the sense that he really represents community building event. He really celebrates that and represents that. So
yeah,
I
he
really
he
appreciated that part.
absolutely he offers perfect harmony, man. He doesn't want any criticism, and he doesn't bash other teams. Unlike other players in India, we've seen it, and then it's
Yeah.
both sided. It's not just India; it's Pakistan too. We talk a lot of smack, and it's not. It's uncalled for. It shouldn't happen. It's just a game at the end of the day.
And this game always obviously brings everybody who's not playing into the arena also. And
Yeah,
there have been so many stupid things that have been going around on social media. A fight between Muhammad Amir and Harbhajan Singh. Have you heard about that?
I heard about that. I heard about Shoaib Akhtar and Harbhajan. They, it's silly,
it's
man. It's
it's
fun,
nonstop.
entertainment, which
Yes.
is good. But yeah, that's bound to happen, man. It's there's all types of people out there. Some people celebrate, some people think it's just a revenge type of ordeal, and we
And
have to get them back.
I also wondered if you heard about that Wakar Yunus comment.
I actually know in essence what it was, but I didn't hear the actual comment about Rizvan praying during the drink break or something like that.
Yeah, so Rizwan prayed during the drinks
Yeah,
break or whatever, which is
I
totally fine.
I filmed that. Yeah, yeah, I have it
It's
on my
super cool.
phone.
I think a lot of people are inspired by acts like that
Yeah,
in the middle of a game, and that's cool. But Wakar said it in a way that made it sound like it was a heroic thing he did because he did it amongst people who were not predominantly Muslim and they were Hindu, and for him to do that among Hindus, that made him very happy or something like that. And I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but that was a sentiment that people received,
yeah,
and it blew up, and it was just and not, just a bunch of negativity coming out of this, which is kind of silly because this game wasn't about them, but somehow some of our ex players, I just feel like make these things about them when they're not. Just congratulate teams and that's it.
yeah. And Pakistan has always been that way, right? We always discuss how much religion they bring into the game, but naturally they always start off with thanking God, and
Yeah.
we're patriotic, we're religious, and that's just let it be. If they don't want to follow the same suit, that's okay too. But that's just the nature of the game, and we always start off every conversation with God, and it used to bother me too, to be honest. I thought it was two different things, but it's totally okay.
Yeah, well, it's totally okay, but I think what the comment that Wakar made was kind of received as xenophobic
Ooh, got you.
against,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
that he said something negative to hurt the feelings of those who were non-Muslim. And
That wasn't the intent.
yeah,
But
maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, but either way, it was not a very smart thing to say. So from somebody like Wakar Yunus to come out and say a thing like that
he's a
on
very
world
calculated
stage.
guy. Yeah,
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 yeah, it was just, and then he apologized. So he did
yeah. I saw that.
apologize.
I saw that.
That was a smart move because people needed to hear that. That wasn't cool. But yeah, besides that, I feel like the game kind of brings sometimes the worst out of people, unfortunately.
Yeah,
And every time there's a game between Pakistan and India, that you see a lot of positivity and you also see a lot of negativity. And it's up to us to kind of focus and give attention to the positive. And the game was just a beautiful game. And I hope they see each other again in the final. What do you think?
that's very likely to happen. It'll really be evident by tomorrow's game between New Zealand and India, and we'll see from there because we've already cleared all the dangerous teams. India, New Zealand, and Afghanistan. India is playing their second match after a week, so they're well rested. But I think that's the last big team they have to play apart from Afghanistan, right? So if they don't win, you may not see them. So it really is gonna be concluded tomorrow who's gonna make it to the final. And I really hope it's gonna be dangerous because they're gonna study us very well, and it's gonna be a good competition if we do see them in the final. But tomorrow will tell what happens next.
Yeah, it'll be an exciting game, and we're excited about tomorrow's game too. Let's, wish both teams luck and may the better team win. So we have an exciting uh, set of games ahead. Well, after the India game, we had a couple of other games. What are your thoughts on those?
Oh, I think Pakistan was pretty good, man. I There were some hiccups as far as our middle batting order is concerned.
Which game are you talking about, New Zealand or Afghanistan?
Both of them,
Okay.
quite frankly, because good thing is that we got to see all our top batsmen perform, and I didn't see any mistakes, to be honest, apart from babarazam trying to hit Rashid Khan on his last ball. I think that could have been spared. It was his last ball. He hadn't taken a wicket, or I think he took one wicket, but Babar Azam was playing at 50. So that adds added pressure
Yeah.
onto next batsman. But apart from that, man, I think it was well calculated chase. Afghanistan one was difficult to watch. It was stressful, but we still ended it before the 20th over. The only weaknesses I saw was Hafiz hasn't performed, and I know that's the guy with experience. We were hoping he's going to come in and block the collapse. That didn't happen. Shoaib Malik was good in the New Zealand game. He did what we always anticipated and played the role of the wall and stabilized the team. Other than that, man, I think bowling wise, Hassan Ali has been a little expensive. So maybe give Dhani a chance in upcoming games. And these are smaller teams anyway. So might be a good opportunity to experiment. Heather Ali should be given a chance in next games to see where he stands and what kind of form he's in. So
Yeah.
fielding has been tight. Batting is middle order is average. Rizwan had bad luck. He went for a six in the New Zealand game and got caught
Wait, did you
at
say our
eight
strength is
lengths.
good fielding?
Yeah,
I
man.
never thought we would hear that, right? I agree with you, but isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. It's
It's
insane.
crazy.
And have we had any drop catches? I don't think so.
The fact that we have to think about if they missed anything
It's
is
pretty good.
already a
Yeah.
statement that they've done well. You mentioned Shanwaz Dhani. I don't think they can have him, man, because technically reserves can't play. They're not part of the 15, so I don't think they can play
Yeah.
unless they actually replace a person.
Oh, really? I wasn't sure about that. I thought it was so somebody has to be injured for that
Yeah.
to kick in. Okay.
To wrap up our episode, maybe we should get your reaction on Asif Ali. How did you feel about his last couple of performances?
What a dream story, man. The guy was struggling, and you've heard it on the news. He lost his daughter a few years back, and then didn't perform after that very well, but was given a chance, and he turned two games around for us. And to take the pressure off like that within one over, we needed 24, and this guy gets it done.
I felt the same way. I mean, I had not seen him play before, so I had just heard of his name, kept coming up. I know he didn't get a chance to play a lot, but he was part of the team for a while, hanging around, but just not getting a chance to play often. Pakistan finally getting a player that really can, go in guns blazing. So that was
Make a
really nice to
difference.
see. This is the end of our episode. Thank you for joining us today. It's great to have Rafam back to get his analysis on everything and to also get a view of what actually went down in Dubai. That was really nice. So thank you, Rafan, for sharing that. Also, friends, we have our Twitter account now. So please go ahead and look up Crickellectuals on Twitter and follow us at Crickellectuals. And you can also email us comments and concerns now at crickellectuals@gmail.com. So we'll look forward to hearing from you. Enjoy this episode, and we'll see you at the next one. Have a good one. Bye.